Liverpool fans, huge news dropping right now, from Chiesa's transfer update to Szoboszlai's latest situation and big contract talks. Everything you need to know is here. Hit subscribe and join Anfield Wire for daily Liverpool updates. Federico Chiesa sent clear transfer message as fragile verdict issued on Liverpool forward. Liverpool forward Federico Chiesa has dropped out of contention for Italy this week, with the 28-year-old having initially agreed to return to the national team fold. Former AC Milan and Italy midfielder Massimino Ambrosini has sent a message to fragile Liverpool forward Federico Chiesa after he was sent home from international duty this week. A statement from the Italian Football Association confirmed that Chiesa had linked up with the squad, only to be assessed by the medical team, who determined that he wasn't fit enough to be involved in the huge game with Northern Ireland. The winner will play Wales or Bosnia with the aim of qualifying for the World Cup. All players are different, Italy manager Gennaro Gattuso explained in a press conference. He didn't feel up to it, he went back home, and I have to accept that. If a player tells me he's not feeling well and is convinced of that, it's useless to keep insisting. Chiesa was called up, but he had a minor physical problem and we decided not to include him in the squad. Chiesa has made 32 appearances under Arne Slot this season, but only 5 of those have been starts for Liverpool. Only one of those starts has come in either the Premier League or the Champions League. It's not easy because we're talking about a psychological situation for him. Ambrosini told Goal, I know that he has maybe some issues to solve and he's a very fragile guy sometimes. So he needs to find his power in his mind first of all. So maybe coming back to Italy could help him. Maybe this situation could help him. Coming back, feeling different feelings despite what happened in Liverpool. Why not? Here in Italy, we were talking about him for Juventus even in January. Maybe coming back where you know everybody could help him, could help Juventus. But first of all, he has to refine his power inside him, his confidence, and I hope so for him. Even for Juventus or AC Milan, if they decide to play in another way. Because for AC Milan, the style they decide to go with this season, they don't need a player like Federico. But even if it's not the top team in Italy, coming back to Italy with another choice, a squad on that level could be good for him. It's important that he chooses a situation that is good for him, where he feels good. Chiesa was signed on a cut price deal from Juventus in 2024, but there was always a risk that he wasn't going to be fit enough to make an impact. His game time has normally come in the form of a late cameo off the bench here and there. In the rare moments when Chiesa has been thrown in to start games, he hasn't made much of a difference and has lacked the speed required to inject something exciting into the Liverpool attack. Dominik Szoboszlai spends time with family after suffering soccer heartbreak. Liverpool and Hungary star Dominik Szoboszlai will be playing for his national team this week, but he has spent some time with family ahead of matches with Slovenia and Greece. Liverpool star Dominik Szoboszlai and his club teammate Milos Kerkez will play for Hungary this week, but the pair are not set to be involved at the Summer's World Cup in the United States, Canada and Mexico. Szoboszlai and Kerkez lost to a Troy Parrott hat-trick last time out, which saw Ireland move above it in the UEFA Nations League standings, meaning matches against Slovenia and Greece this week are only friendlies and are ultimately meaningless for the Liverpool duo. Before linking up with the national team, Szoboszlai, Hungary's captain, posted on Instagram to share photos with his family, including wife Borka Buzik and their baby. Enjoying some time in his homeland, Szoboszlai posted an array of pictures from Hungary, including his arrival for national team duty, with the caption, "Checking in." Hungary will play Slovenia on Saturday and then Greece next Tuesday, with both of those games being held at the Puskás Arena in Budapest. Szoboszlai has spent time playing at right back this season, even though as a midfielder he has been Liverpool's best player. But Arne Slot says he doesn't want that to happen often after Steven Gerrard spoke about it last week. I like his mentality. He's evolved and he's grown a lot since he's become a Liverpool player, Gerrard shared with TNT Sports. We, Liverpool, obviously signed a big talent. He's in the prime years of his career. I think Liverpool are going to see the best of him. I hope he stays around for a long time because I think there's a potential captain in there. He's always in and around the box. His ball striking is phenomenal. His timing and his technique, and he hits it with so much venom. The balls are getting lighter and lighter. He must be an absolute nightmare for the goalkeeper. People are going away now talking about his performance because he's exciting and he's entertaining, but he's in his proper position. Keep him in his proper position. Let him flourish. Szoboszlai has drawn comparisons to Gerrard because of his driving performances from the centre of the field, and Slot has insisted that he wants to play him in the middle as often as possible. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but Dominik is a midfielder. When I play him in a different position, it's not because I want to be a tactical genius, Slot said last week. It is because I don't have other options in that position and try to choose the best player available. If there is a fullback on the bench, please ask yourself, is that fullback fully fit? Is it a risk to play him? If I have a lot of fullbacks available and in good shape, they will play there and Dominik will be in midfield. He is a very good midfielder for us. We have more than him, and that is why sometimes he plays right fullback. Liverpool's fate is in its own hands as remaining fixtures test Arne Slot credentials. The Liverpool head coach faces a daunting run of games across the final months of the season, which will challenge two of Arne Slot's recurring points throughout the campaign. Liverpool breathed a sigh of relief when the news filtered through from the Hill Dickinson on Saturday. Rarely do the Reds want Everton to take all 3 points, but when it is facing a direct rival, one that would have leapfrogged the Premier League champions in the table, local allegiances are set aside. That was the case on Saturday when the Toffees swatted Chelsea aside with a straightforward 3-0 win, ensuring Liam Rosenior's beleaguered side remain in 6th, a point behind Liverpool. No side seems capable of pulling clear in the race for the top 5. That Manchester United, a laughingstock for the first half of the campaign, sits 3rd, tells its own story. In contrast, Liverpool has taken 1 point from its last 3 games. Prior to this weekend, Aston Villa in 4th had lost 3 league matches in a row, while Chelsea has won just 1 in 6. All 3 have shown glimpses of their capabilities this season, making the inconsistencies even more bewildering. Perhaps it speaks to a wider issue across the Premier League, where quality has been questioned following last week's Champions League struggles, or to the ill effects of the condensed calendar. Either way, the travails of Villa, Liverpool and Chelsea have opened the door for the league's next rung of clubs. Everton's win on Saturday has pushed the Toffees into the mix. They now trail Liverpool by just 3 points. That means if the Reds' Merseyside derby win in September is discounted, the clubs have matched each other's points tally this season. Meanwhile, Brentford, meanest tipped for relegation before the campaign, has also forced its way into the picture. Like Everton, it is now potentially just 1 win away from overtaking the Reds in the table. Even Fulham in 9th, sitting 5 points behind Liverpool, may hold tentative hopes of pushing up the table in the coming weeks. It makes for an intriguing end to the campaign, not just for the Champions League, with Europa League and Conference League places also up for grabs. There will be no shortage of blockbuster ties, with Liverpool set to be particularly prevalent in that. Incredibly, the Reds are set to play all of United, Villa, Chelsea, Everton, Brentford and Fulham in its final 7 league matches of the term, with the home clash against Crystal Palace representing the only remaining fixture against a side not currently inside the top 10. It's a daunting prospect, especially with Liverpool still competing in 2 cup competitions, and as Arne Slot is only too keen to reference, recuperation and rest time are at a premium, and yet it means the champions' fate is very much in their own hands. On numerous occasions, Slot has spoken of the Reds' struggles this season when facing sides that deployed low blocks and long balls, and has often shown their best against better quality opposition. As for recovery, Liverpool plays just 1 league match before the FA Cup, and Champions League ties against Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain, based solely on league form. Exits in both would undoubtedly help, although Slot's hopes of remaining beyond the end of the season would certainly be strengthened by lifting silverware. Regardless, across the remaining fixtures this season, which could range between 10 and 15, the Dutchman needs to see a vast improvement in terms of performances and results. That so many come against the league's top sides will provide the ultimate test of Slot's managerial pedigree. 13 Liverpool players on international duty, and what is at stake as game cancels. Liverpool has 13 players away on senior international duty this week, with Arne Slot hoping that none come back with an injury ahead of the Premier League run-in. Liverpool has 13 senior players away on international duty this week, with only Kieran Morrison and Northern Ireland playing competitively and the others involved in friendly fixtures. Hugo Ekitike and Ibrahima Konate could be involved for France as it plays Brazil and Colombia in the United States. Both of those fixtures are friendlies ahead of the World Cup. Yesterday, Ekitike was filmed arriving at the French camp just a few days after limping off against Brighton. Arne Slot said he had a dead leg and therefore is expected to be fit this week and should be fine to play when Liverpool returns to action at the start of April. Midfielder Alexis Mac Allister was meant to be playing against Spain in the Finalissima, a game between the European and South American champions, but that fixture was to be held in Qatar and has therefore been cancelled due to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Instead, Argentina will play Mauritania and then Zambia in friendly fixtures to help it warm up for the World Cup. A friendly against Qatar was also cancelled, lessening the Liverpool man's load. Georgi Mamadashvili will be in goal for Georgia in matches against Israel and Lithuania. Again, both of those games have nothing riding on them, and Georgia did not qualify for the World Cup. Florian Wirtz and Germany will take on Switzerland and Ghana, with his place in the World Cup squad already assured. The Liverpool man will be a key player for his country this summer. Conversely, Dominik Szoboszlai and Milos Kerkez are Hungary's star men, but they aren't heading to the US, Canada and Mexico after they failed to qualify. This week they will take on Slovenia and Greece. Virgil van Dijk, Ryan Gravenberch, Jeremy Frimpong and Cody Gakpo could all be in action for the Netherlands. They play Norway first and then Ecuador on Tuesday. Young attacking midfielder Morrison, who has scored 16 goals at youth level this season, has been called up into the senior Northern Ireland squad for the first time, and he could make his debut against Italy. The winner of that game, and Federico Chiesa won't be involved after he was deemed to be unfit, will then face either Wales or Bosnia with a place at the World Cup at stake. Finally, Andy Robertson will be playing for Scotland at the World Cup. They face Japan and Ivory Coast this week in preparation, with the second of those games being held at Everton's Hill Dickinson Stadium. The likes of Armin Pexi, Rio Ngumoa and Trey Nioni have also been called up to represent their national teams at youth level. Arne Slot's men will reconvene next week ahead of the FA trip to Manchester City. Trent Alexander-Arnold's Liverpool comeback and Steven Gerrard's disappointment. Trent Alexander-Arnold's move to Real Madrid has been marked by disciplinary problems, an England squad omission and a frosty reception on his Anfield return. It wasn't meant to pan out like this. Trent Alexander-Arnold, a Premier League champion and a legend at the tender age of 26, departed Liverpool for Real Madrid last summer. Yet his stint in Madrid has been marred by injuries, a dip in form and even rumours of an early exit. The defender was reportedly left out of a recent starting lineup due to disciplinary issues after arriving late for training, but it hasn't been all bad news for the European Cup winner. Alexander-Arnold has featured in 25 matches for Los Blancos this season, earning plaudits for his performance in the recent Champions League clash against Manchester City. But there's no denying that the fullback would have wished for a smoother transition to life in Madrid. Liverpool.com delves deeper into Alexander-Arnold's trials and tribulations. Rule breach. The 27-year-old has been in the starting lineup for all of Madrid's last 4 Champions League games, and before last week's win over Elche had played in 5 consecutive La Liga matches. However, Dani Carvajal was chosen as right-back against Atletico Madrid on Sunday, with reports suggesting Alexander-Arnold was benched due to lateness at a training session. Spanish publication Marca reported that Alexander-Arnold arrived late to one of the final training sessions of the week, prompting Arbeloa to deliver a clear message with a decision focused on discipline and dressing room order. Marca added that Arbeloa respected the team's code of conduct and made the necessary decision to maintain order within the group. Anfield return. Alexander-Arnold probably didn't expect to face his boyhood club again so soon. Liverpool hosted Madrid at Anfield in the Champions League last November, just months after his exit, and the welcome he received was fairly predictable. The right-back began the match on the substitutes bench for Los Blancos. After Liverpool had taken a 1-0 lead, the atmosphere intensified further when Alexander-Arnold was introduced with 10 minutes remaining. The ex-Anfield hero was largely greeted with boos as he stepped onto the pitch. Fans then pointedly sang about club legends Steven Gerrard and Alexander-Arnold's replacement at right-back Connor Bradley, sending an unmistakable message to their former player. This could preview what awaits Alexander-Arnold should both Liverpool and Madrid progress through their Champions League quarter-final matches, potentially setting up a semi-final showdown between the teams. Gerrard's disappointment Gerrard has voiced his astonishment at Alexander-Arnold's exclusion from England's squad for the forthcoming international games. The Madrid player was left out of Thomas Tuchel's 35-man selection for friendly encounters with Uruguay and Japan. Tino Livramento and Jed Spence were picked as England's right-backs, with Reece James unavailable through injury. Alexander-Arnold hasn't featured for his nation since the 1-0 win against Andorra in June. Listen, we've got some good options at right-back, Gerrard said. Reece James is world-class. I really like Livramento. I know he's had a couple of injuries, but he can play both sides. I understand the selection, but I just think, is Trent among the best 35 players in this country? Of course he is. There's going to be certain games where England have to open the door. They might be against a low block where it's really frustrating. And Trent is one of these players who can come off the bench and just completely change the game with one pass. He's that level of a player. So I am surprised and I'm disappointed for him. But there's a lot of other situations that you've got to take into consideration. How much has he played? Is he physically at his best? Is there stuff going on off the pitch? Liverpool transfer news as Ibrahima Konate signing on, fee demand revealed. The latest Liverpool transfer news and rumours as Ibrahima Konaté's names his price to Real Madrid. While there's speculation over who could replace Cody Gakpo in the summer, Ibrahima Konate is reportedly eyeing an 8-figure signing-on fee from whichever club he signs a contract with this summer if he ends up leaving Liverpool. The French defender's current deal at Anfield is set to expire at the end of the season, and talks over an extension at Liverpool have not proved fruitful. He has been linked with a move to Real Madrid as a free agent in a deal similar to the one that took Trent Alexander-Arnold to the Spanish capital last year. Although a move to Madrid would technically be described as a free transfer, he certainly would not cost Los Blancos nothing at all. Spanish outlet Defensa Central says that Konate is eyeing a signing-on fee in Madrid of between €15 million, $17 million and €18 million, $21 million. However, the report also adds that Madrid is not convinced about doing that, which could throw a spanner in the Frenchman's possible switch to the Bernabeu. The suggestion is that Madrid could look to extend the contract of Antonio Rudiger if Konate does not lower his demands, which could close the door on a move to Spain for the France international. Liverpool head coach Arne Slot confirmed in February that the club remained in talks with Konate over a new deal, although there has been no suggestion that a breakthrough in talks is imminent. "We are in talks with him, so that tells you what we want," Slot said. "It's clear we would like him to stay, but negotiations are ongoing, so let's see where that ends. We wouldn't be in negotiations if we didn't want him to stay." Meanwhile, Liverpool is being linked with a move to sign France international Magnias Akliouche, who currently plays for Monaco. The 24-year-old attacker made his Les Bleus debut last year, and Team Talk says he is being considered for a possible move to Liverpool in the event that Cody Gakpo departs the club. Gakpo is enduring a difficult season at Liverpool and has faced plenty of criticism from supporters for his disappointing output from the left flank. Akliouche is hardly prolific, though, having scored just 7 goals in all competitions for Monaco this season. Anthony Gordon is named as another possible replacement for Gakpo, who is reported to be the subject of interest from Bundesliga outfit RB Leipzig.